Hey there, pilots! This is Dauntless Sam, and today we'll be looking at the history of the Brewster F2A Buffalo and its flight characteristics in War Thunder. The Brewster F2A Buffalo was an American fighter aircraft which saw service early in World War II. Designed and built by the Brewster Aeronautical Corporation, it was one of the first U.S. monoplanes with an arrestor hook and other modifications for aircraft carriers. The Buffalo won a competition against the Grumman F4F Wildcat in 1939 to become the U.S. Navy's first monoplane fighter aircraft. Although superior to the Grumman F3F biplane it replaced, and the early F4Fs, the Buffalo turned out to be a disappointment because of the weight of added equipment was not balanced by an increase in horsepower. Several nations, including Finland, Belgium, Britain, and the Netherlands, ordered the Buffalo. Of all of the users, the Finns were the most successful with the Buffaloes, flying them in combat against early Soviet fighters with excellent results. During the Continuation War of 1941 through 1944, the B-239s, operated by the Finnish Air Force, proved capable of engaging and destroying most types of Soviet fighter aircraft operating against Finland at the time, and achieving in the first phase of the conflict 32 Soviet aircraft shot down for every B-239 lost, and producing 36 Buffalo Aces. In December of 1941, Buffaloes operated by both British Commonwealth and Dutch Air Forces in Southeast Asia suffered severe losses in combat against the Japanese Navy's Mitsubishi A6M0 and the Japanese Army's Nakajima Ki-43 Oscar. The British attempted to lighten their Buffaloes by removing ammunition and fuel and installing lighter guns to increase performance, but it made little difference. After the first few engagements, the Dutch halved the fuel and ammo load of the wing, which allowed their Buffaloes and their Hurricanes to stay with the Oscars in turns. The Buffalo was built in 3 variants for the U.S. Navy: the F2A1, the F2A2, and the F2A3. The F2A3 variant saw action with the United States Marine Corps squadrons at the Battle of Midway. Shown by the experience of Midway to be no match for the Zero, the F2A3 was derided by USMC pilots as a flying coffin. However, the F2A3's performance was substantially inferior to the F2A2 variant used by the Navy before the outbreak of the war, despite detail improvements. In 1935, the United States Navy issued a requirement for a carrier-based fighter intended to replace the Grumman F3F biplane. The Brewster XF2A1 monoplane, designed by a team led by Dayton T. Brown, was one of 2 aircraft designs that were initially considered. The XF4F1, with a double-row radial engine, was a classic biplane. The United States Navy competition was reopened to allow another competitor, the XFNF1, a navalized Seversky P-35, eliminated early on when the prototype could not reach more than 267 miles per hour. The XF2A1 first flew on the 2nd of December 1937, and early test results showed it was far in advance of the Grumman biplane entry. While the XF4F1 would not enter production, it would later re-emerge as a monoplane, the Wildcat. The new Brewster fighter had a modern look with a stubby fuselage, mid-set monoplane wings, and a host of advanced features. It was all metal with flush-riveted, stressed aluminum construction, although controlled surfaces were still fabric-covered. The XF2A1 also featured split flaps, a hydraulically operated retractable main undercarriage, and a streamlined framed canopy. However, the aircraft lacked self-sealing fuel tanks and pilot armor. Fuel was only 160 United States gallons, stored in the fuselage. Powered by a 950 horsepower single-row Wright R1820-22 Cyclone radial engine, it had an impressive initial climb rate of 2,750 feet per minute and a top speed of 277.5 miles per hour, which was later boosted to 304 miles per hour at 16,000 feet, after improvements were made to the cowling, streamlining, and carburetor oil cooler air intakes. With only a single-stage supercharger, high-altitude performance fell off rapidly. Fuselage armament was one fixed 50 caliber M2 Browning machine gun with 200 rounds, and one fixed 30 caliber AN Browning machine gun with 600 rounds, both of them in the nose. The Navy awarded the Brewster Aeronautical Corporation a production contract for 54 aircraft as the F2A-1. Service testing of the XF2A-1 prototype began in January 1938, and in June, production started on the F2A-1. They were powered by the 940 horsepower Wright R1820-34 engine and had a larger fin. The added weight of two additional 50 caliber Browning wing guns and other equipment specified by the Navy for combat operations reduced the initial climb rate to 2,600 feet per minute. Plagued by production difficulties, Brewster only delivered 11 F2A-1 aircraft to the Navy. The remainder of the order was later diverted to the Finnish Air Force in modified form under the export designation Model 239. A later variant, the F2A-2, of which 43 were ordered by the U.S. Navy, included a more powerful R1820-40 engine, a better propeller, and integral flotation gear, but still lacked pilot armor and self-sealing fuel tanks. The increase in engine power was welcomed, but to some extent offset by the increased load weight of the aircraft. While top speed was increased to a respectable 323 miles per hour at 16,500 feet, initial climb rate dropped to 2,500 feet per minute. Both the F2A-1 and the F2A-2 variants of the Brewster were liked by early naval and marine pilots, including Pappy Boyington, who praised the good turning and maneuvering abilities of the aircraft. Boyington observed, "But the early models, before they weighed it all down with armor plate, radios, and other equipment, they were pretty sweet little ships. Not real fast, but the little aircraft could turn and roll in a phone booth. This might be expected from the low wing loading, only 24.1 pounds per square foot, only 10% higher than that of the Zero." The F2A-3 was the last version of the Buffalo to enter service with the United States Navy and Marine Corps. A total of 108 examples were ordered in January of 1941. By this time, the Navy had become disenchanted with the Buffalo, and had become especially annoyed at Brewster Aeronautical Corporation's frequent production delays, and its seemingly never-ending management difficulties. This order was seen more as a way of keeping Brewster's production lines running. They would eventually build Corsair fighters for the Navy as well as the Buccaneer Bermuda dive bombers. The F2A-3s were conceived as a long-range reconnaissance fighter with a new wet wing with self-sealing features and a larger fuselage tank which provided increased fuel capacity and protection, but this also increased the aircraft's weight by more than 500 pounds. The wing and enlarged fuselage tank carried an additional 80 United States gallons of fuel. At 6 pounds per gallon, the fuel alone weighed nearly 500 pounds. The addition of armor plating for the pilot and increased ammunition capacity further increased the aircraft's weight, resulting in a reduced top speed and rate of climb, while substantially degrading Brewster's turning and maneuvering capability. The Navy found that the added weight of the F2A-3 also aggravated the problem of landing gear failure during carrier landings. However, the two-speed supercharged Cyclone engine in the F2A-3 was an excellent cruising engine, and as such the F2A-3 had some value and saw initial service on the carriers of Saratoga and Lexington. Even in late 1940, it was apparent that the Buffalo was rapidly becoming obsolete. It badly needed a more powerful engine, but the limits of the airframe had been reached, making installation of a larger engine impossible. Soon after deliveries of the F2A3 began, the Navy decided to eliminate the type altogether. By then, considered a second-line aircraft, some were transferred to the United States Marine Corps, which deployed 2 F2A3 squadrons to the Pacific, one at Palmyra Atoll and another at Midway Island. Those which still remained on board aircraft carriers narrowly missed a combat opportunity when a relief mission was dispatched to Wake Island, but the relief force was withdrawn before completing the mission. Shortly thereafter, F2A3s, still in naval service, were transferred to training squadrons for use as advanced trainers. The first unit to be equipped with the F2A1 was Lieutenant Commander Warren Harvey's VF3, assigned to the USS Saratoga Air Group. On the 8th of December, 1939, VF3 received 10 of the 11 Buffaloes delivered to the United States Navy. The remaining 43 F2A1s were declared surplus and sold to Finland. Although it was becoming clear that the F2A was inferior to the latest German and British fighters, one American observer wrote in late 1940, after visiting Britain, that the best American fighter planes already delivered to the British are used by them either as advanced trainers or for fighting equally obsolete Italian planes in the Middle East. That's all they're good for. In the early years of World War II, all modern monoplane fighter types were in high demand, even the F2A. Consequently, the United Kingdom, Belgium, and the Netherlands East Indies purchased several hundred export models of the Buffalo. In War Thunder, there are 3 variants of the F2A: the F2A1, the F2A3, and the premium Stax F2A1. The F2A1 is a very fragile aircraft with little to no armor. This allows the aircraft to be very maneuverable and can make very tight turns, but you will not last long under any well-aimed fire. It can also be very quick in a straight line because of its light airframe. A disadvantage to this light airframe is that it bleeds speed very quickly. If you find that someone is on your tail, try to pull them into a turn fight. This aircraft can outturn most monoplanes in the game. The aircraft has a maximum speed of 336 miles per hour and a climb rate of 2,142 feet per minute. The F2A1 is not equipped with much firepower. Only one 50 caliber Browning machine gun with 250 rounds, and one 30 caliber Browning machine gun with 250 rounds. You will run out of ammunition very quickly. The F2A1 does not have any secondary armaments. The F2A3 is much less maneuverable than the F2A1, although it has far more firepower. Also, it is equipped with slightly more armor. Its 4 50 caliber machine guns are extremely powerful for its rank. Each gun is loaded with 650 rounds. The aircraft can also be loaded with 2 100-pound bombs. This variant has a maximum speed of 322 miles per hour and a climb rate of 3,233 feet per minute. I hope that this information has proved helpful. If you liked the video, please do like the video. If you would like to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe to the channel. And if you think anyone else would be interested in this video, don't be afraid to share it. This is Dauntless Sam. Thanks for watching.